You've felt it too, haven't you? That heavy silence before a difficult conversation. That racing heartbeat when your future seems uncertain. That invisible weight pressing on your chest even when everything looks fine on the outside. Maybe it's 2 a.m. and you're staring at the ceiling wondering if you've ruined everything. Or maybe it's in the middle of a workday when your mind drifts to that one what if. What if I fail? What if they see I'm not good enough? Fear and anxiety, they don't knock. They seep in quietly through the cracks of your most private thoughts. We spend our lives trying to build walls, schedules, savings routines, thinking we can keep the chaos out. But what if the enemy isn't out there? What if the real battlefield is inside? The Stoics believe this, that fear isn't some beast in the dark. It's a shadow we cast ourselves with the light of our own thoughts. So let me ask you this. What fear are you living with right now that you've silently accepted as normal? What anxiety have you folded into your daily routine like it belongs there? Today, we're not just going to talk about fear. We're going to dissect it. We're going to take it apart piece by piece using the tools of timeless Stoic wisdom. Fear doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up as hesitation before a decision. The quiet voice that says, maybe you're not ready, or what if this ruins everything? It's easy to think. Fear comes from the world outside, a collapsing economy, a looming deadline, a person who intimidates us. But the truth is, fear isn't out there. It's inside. It's the story we tell ourselves about what might happen. A story built entirely on imagination, not evidence. Think of your mind like a theater. Fear writes the script, casts shadows on the stage, and makes you believe the danger is real even when the stage is empty. And the more we believe that script, the more power we give it. Anxiety is the echo of a future we haven't lived yet. It's the mental rehearsal of disasters that may never arrive. It feeds off uncertainty and our need to control what we can't. The Stoics knew this long before psychology gave it a name. They taught that emotions like fear are not caused by external events, but by the judgments we attach to them. The world doesn't scare us. We scare ourselves. Epictetus didn't say, avoid fear. He said, question it. He didn't teach us to run. He taught us to investigate the thoughts that stir panic in us and ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this helping me live better? And here's the most liberating truth of all. Fear is not something that happens to us. It's something we participate in, which means we can choose not to. Most people run from their fears, but the Stoics walk straight toward them in their minds. Instead of avoiding worst-case scenarios, they rehearse them. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of your biggest fear, losing your job, your reputation, your health. You don't look away. You don't distract yourself. You imagine it happening clearly, calmly, repeatedly, until it no longer owns you. This is premeditatio malorum, the rehearsal of adversity. It may seem cruel, even pessimistic, but it's the opposite. It is preparation. The Stoic doesn't wish for tragedy, but prepares to meet it, so that when it comes, he is not broken by it, but ready. Most of the fear I've felt wasn't because of reality, but because I refused to look at reality. Anxiety is time travel, except it never takes you anywhere good. 1 minute you're brushing your teeth. The next, your mind is living next week's disaster, tomorrow's argument, or next month's failure. Stoicism reminds us the present is the only place you can act. The future is fog. The past is fixed. But the present is power. When Marcus Aurelius said, "You will meet the future with the same tools you have now," he didn't mean to ignore the future. He meant master now. And now is where fear has the least oxygen. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that fear can't stop? Then do just that. I've learned that fear loses momentum when you stay exactly where your feet are. Death walks beside us, not behind us. And that's not a curse. It's a compass. Modern life teaches us to cushion ourselves, to chase longevity, to pretend we're immortal. But Stoicism teaches us to accept death, not fear it. Because when you remember you could die today, suddenly, all those small fears, they shrink. Memento mori isn't morbid. It's motivating. Knowing you will die frees you to live now without delay, without regret, without fear of looking foolish. Every time I remember life is short, I stop giving fear the authority to decide for me. Fear is not just an emotion, it's a decision. And most of us make that decision unconsciously again and again. But the Stoic pauses. The Stoic questions. The Stoic chooses. You are not at the mercy of every surge of panic. You are not the puppet of every worst-case thought. Between what happens and how you respond, there is space. And in that space, there is your freedom. Epictetus didn't teach us to be fearless. He taught us to be rational, to use our minds like swords, not shields. The most powerful moment is the one where you pause and refuse to flinch. Fear doesn't always win by being loud. Sometimes it wins because we quietly cooperate with it. One of the biggest mistakes we make is trying to avoid fear entirely, as if it were a stain we could scrub away with enough positivity or distraction. But what we avoid, we empower. And fear fed by avoidance only grows stronger. Another mistake is expecting fear to disappear overnight. We read one quote, watch one video, and hope the feeling vanishes. But fear isn't a switch. It's a habit, something we've practiced mentally often for years. Rewiring that response takes patience, not magic. Then there's the mistake of over-identifying with fear. We start to think, this fear is who I am, instead of seeing it as a passing experience. When fear becomes part of our identity, we defend it instead of dissolving it. The Stoics would say, you are not your emotions. You are the one who observes them, challenges them, and chooses your response. And perhaps the most dangerous trap is emotional attachment to fear itself. That might sound strange. Who would want to cling to fear? But sometimes, fear becomes familiar. It becomes an excuse, a comfort zone, even a way to avoid responsibility. Letting go of fear can feel like letting go of control. But in reality, it's the only way to reclaim it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's what rises when we refuse to be ruled by it. And fear will always try to rule. It will knock, whisper, scream anything to stay in control. But the Stoics taught us that reason is stronger than reaction. That awareness is stronger than instinct. That freedom comes not from eliminating fear, but from understanding it, mastering it, and walking forward anyway. You are not weak for feeling fear. You are only weak if you let it make decisions for you. The warrior of the mind isn't fearless. He's honest. He doesn't pretend danger doesn't exist. He simply doesn't let danger decide the outcome. So the question is not whether fear will visit you again. It will. The real question is, what will you do when it does? Will you collapse? Or will you pause, breathe, and choose your response? Choose reason. Choose courage. Begin now, not tomorrow. Now. If this resonated with you, consider liking the video or leaving a comment. I read every one of them. And if you want more Stoic wisdom to guide your journey, feel free to subscribe. It's a small click, but it helps this message reach more people who might need it.